welcome to Miami's Raw, ladies and gentlemen. People are going to say this was a great Raw. I'm sure a few people are going to agree with me that this was not a great Raw. Particularly the outcome of this Raw. Now let's get some stuff done here. I'm going to talk about the thing that I really felt the most annoyed about. And that was Ryder. I don't hate the guy. I don't hate his music. I'm not a fan of it, but I don't hate it. But this is the thing. The WWE carts somebody out every 3 or 4 months to go on this show. Instead of doing it once a year to make it something special. Something so special that we'd be interested in wondering, oh hell, they're bringing somebody in. We haven't seen anybody for the entire year. I wonder who it is. They do it every 3 or 4 months, so I have no care. And then the way they introduce Ryder with Heath Slater. Heath Slater, for goodness sake. And the thing that gets on my nerves the most is that a small push from Heath and a somewhat hard push to Heath hitting the floor like he's a bitch. Wouldn't care. Look what happened with the King and the guy who was from Taxi. And I forgot his name. It's been so many years since he died. He used to be on Taxi. He used to play the guy who was the immigrant from a tiny little country from Russia. I can't remember his name. You guys can tell me below. But it was interesting to see that. Look what happened to Mike Tyson dealing with, Steve Austin. That was epic. But they structured it right. This is just bullshit, and I didn't care. Now let's move on to some of the things I did enjoy. One, the Goldust and Stardust comedy moment. I said this on my Battleground review. If they continue trying to give Cody time, if he gets worse and worse, it may get over. He isn't a great Stardust. But he still is beginning to get over, and they're talking about dealing with the Usos. It's obvious the cosmic key is the Usos. And they will be going towards them. I just hope that we get something good from this. Even though I'd rather see Cody doing something else is what we got. The next thing that I really feel bad about is Damien versus Bo Dallas. It's a mixed bag for me. Damien Sandow, who used to be the intellectual savior of the masses. Ow. He used to be impactful like that hit to myself. He used to be interesting. He used to say, silence, I am talking, thank you. He was entertaining. This isn't entertaining. I'm sorry. It's good to see Bo get another win. Bo leaving continues to get over. But why continue with... I would love to see Damien Sandow say... You see I'm botching his name because it frustrates me beyond fuck. I would love to see Damien just take some time off, go away from WWE for a little while, and then come back. Of course he's not going to have that option because he's under contract. I just wish to do something different with him. And here's something else I wish they would do different. The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler in a match that was not promoted, that was not built up. It was stupid. The WWE had an actual good opportunity for The Miz from last night. They could have let The Miz come out, give his speech of how great he is, how wonderful he is for the WWE. And then Dolph comes out and say, you know you screwed me over because you cheated. And then they build this up going into SummerSlam. No, they just have a fucking match. The Miz wins. And I don't give a fuck either way. I'm sorry, I don't. No matter what they do with The Miz now, I don't really care. Because The Miz had a chance to be something good, something interesting, and they just dropped it. Now, the thing that confused me of this show, Kofi and Biggie Langston versus Ryder, really didn't matter about them winning. Ryder wins. What happens with Xavier Woods coming out all in white, looking like a preacher, baby, going out, I'm going to preach to you, my brothers, we are going to take over the WWE, kind of like what happened with the triple threat that I called them in TNA. 3 black guys coming together to dominate. It seems that there's a possibility that we're going to actually have a heel turn for Kofi Kingston, Biggie Langston, Xavier Woods. The way they were talking, it seems like it. Now, the only thing that's different here, that's interesting, at least to me, ladies and gentlemen, is Kofi Kingston. We have never seen him as a heel. Never as a heel. I don't even know if you can pull one off. There's certain guys out there that can pull off a great character. You can have a Steve Austin pull off a face or a heel, but he's always been decent as a heel. But he always was great as a face, and then he was monstrously awesome as a betweener. I have no idea if Kofi can pull off a heel. I don't think he can, but we've never seen it. Kind of like with Jack Swagger pulling off a face when he's always been a heel. We never thought he could get it out of him. Now Jack Swagger's not much of a face, but he still is a face, and people are going crazy over him. So I don't know if Kofi can pull off this heel turn, if it's even going to happen. But this is a bite off of TNA. We already know this. It's obvious if they even pull the trigger on it. I don't know if they even will. I'll be surprised if they do. Now, the next thing is the 4-on-1 handicap match. And this is going to lead me to what you know is going to be talked about. And I'm going to do it. I'm not leaving it for the end, even though I could. 4-on-1. Alicia Fox, Cameron, who else was there? Rosa Mendes just looks awkward with that ring attire. And I'm going to call Eve Torres, Eva Marie Eve Torres, because I really don't care. She's just generic now. That match was completely nothing. Didn't matter. But when it comes down to it, the smack that Stephanie received last month has now been reciprocated to Brie. Now, the problem I had with that entire segment when Stephanie got arrested, and the crowd was going crazy. And Stephanie pulled it off very well. The detectives looked alright. But here's the problem. I would have liked this. It's just for me personally. You guys can tell me below. It would have been better to have the two detectives there, yes. But have at least 6 or 5 officers behind them. I would have liked to see that guy who was their security get grabbed and held by the police officers, the regular, ordinary clothed police officers, while they did what they did with Stephanie. They push a Triple H, the King of Kings himself, back. And then when they went to the back, those police officers are still there holding this guy back, while one of the detectives come up and say, back the fuck off. Not in those type of words, but you know what I mean. Back off, or we will arrest you and give you your Miranda rights yourself. So get the fuck out of my face. That would have been more appropriate instead of 2 guys coming out with no backup. Come on. It would have been better if it had been done. I would have appreciated it a lot more. But I can't say it wasn't done decently well. This was Stephanie's moment. She now has been arrested and taken away. And this will reciprocate even to a more heightened situation between her and Brie Bella. I know we don't want to see Brie and Stephanie. I know a lot of people don't want to see it. But I said this so many months ago that it's obvious they're giving more things to Stephanie. And Stephanie now... Oh, I thought there was something flying around in the room. Excuse me. And Stephanie now is now a prominent character. She hasn't been one in quite a while. So seeing her like this is better than seeing Dixie Carter. Particularly, she has a better looking body with better boobs. Now, I'm moving on to the women. Paige versus... I was about to say versus AJ. Paige and AJ versus Natty and... well, Emma. I have to admit, I like Emma's music, but she doesn't need to be prancing around like that. I think it kind of messes up her character, even though she's still somewhat to a point getting over. I think the reason I botched that is because of the ending. The match really didn't matter that AJ managed to beat Natalya again. We've seen it so many times. It was that a possible crazy turn on a Paige throws AJ all over the place, knocks her into a turnstile, knocks her, into a ring post, not a turnstile. It's almost the same thing. She gets thrown around so easily like a rag doll. It's like she went into a turnbuckle and flew all over the place like she's easy to throw around. And I'm sure CM Punk knows how easy AJ can be thrown around. I'm just saying. But in the end, what do we get? We get a feud between AJ and Paige. As we all figured out, AJ is going to be face, Paige is going to be heel. But I'm hoping that Paige will just be a really tough heel, not a crazy one. If she goes crazy on this bullshit, I'm going to get angry because they think, well, it worked for AJ, give it to Paige. No! Do not give Paige the crazy bitch treatment. It's not necessary. Shit. Okay. Dean Ambrose versus Cesaro. Now, we saw early in the night what Cesaro tried to do. He's no longer with Paul Heyman. He wants to become a Triple H guy. He wants to go in the Breakfast Club. I'm sorry. As much as I like Cesaro, he's not worthy to be in the Breakfast Club, as many people will call it. So he had to try and prove it, and nothing happened. He got his ass beaten up. Dean DQ'd the match, and we went from there. Which I have to admit, Dean looked very good in the match. So did Cesaro. Cesaro. But it's sad to see they're not doing anything with Cesaro. They had a perfect opportunity months ago, and they destroyed it. And you know what I'm coming to soon. Now, let's see here. Rusev kicks the ass of Akali in quick fashion. We didn't see anything from a Jack Swagger or Zed Coulter. We're sure we're going to get something on main event. We're sure to get something on SmackDown, which is dumb. You want to promote this feud, put it on Raw. That's another thing that frustrated me. And here's another thing that is a lost opportunity for the WWE. Jack, no, I'm sorry. I'm getting things confused because how angry I am about it. Zack, Ryder, and Fandango. With, oh my goodness. When you look at Layla, she wasn't wearing a bra, ladies and gentlemen. That woman's not wearing any damn bra. And her breasts are very well built, very perky, and very delicious. I love a Summer Rae, but there's no way you can compare bodies to Summer Rae to a Layla. Layla's body is just well built. I believe the Slug Daddy said he would ruin that body if he had his hands on it. And I agree with him. I ruin it too to make sure no one ever wanted. But let's get back into this. When you look at the feud between Layla and Summer Rae versus Fandango, I believe they're having a lost opportunity. They're jobbing Fandango out, so Layla and Summer Rae will have the edge. I believe they should lose. I believe that Layla and Summer Rae should lose constantly to Fandango, so they would get a bigger payout. Because right now, I don't really care. I want to see these women get angry, frustrated, hateful, vindictive, get a guy to come in to beat the shit out of a Fandango, and then constantly losing until they get the right guy to get on their side at SummerSlam, and then they get the payout. This is how you have good television. Hell, it could even be the point where Fandango could still win at SummerSlam. These girls get so frustrated, they realize they need to be with this man, and then they interest the 18 to 34-year-old demographics having a threesome. It may sound like it's sexist and stuff, but sex sells, ladies and gentlemen. You want to make the product interesting, not this. I digress. Lastly, the closing of the show. Trying to figure out who should be the guy to face John Cena at SummerSlam, since Randy Orton still has his rematch clause, which he's never been able to get into. Now Triple H does not want to just give it to him. He wants to give it to somebody who impresses him. And we didn't get an impression from a Cesaro. Supposedly everyone throughout the entire night is supposed to try and impress him. But no one ever stated it except for Randy Orton and Roman Reigns. And at the end, Roman Reigns beat the shit and Randy Orton beat the shit out of each other, and they go in the back, and who comes out but Paulie and Brock Lesnar. I'm going to be honest here. I saw the Slug Daddy's reviews of Raw and how he felt about Brock Lesnar possibly coming back to deal with John Cena. And I believe I heard NJ's review, and he wasn't too fond of it, but he wasn't bad or good about it. Actually, he was bad about it. He didn't like it. But when it comes down to, when you look at Brock Lesnar, he cannot give a payout to the WWE. He's not there constantly. He left years ago and has not contributed since then. And every time when he has tried to contribute, he doesn't stay long enough because he set up a contract that does not put anyone over. The very streak that The Undertaker put in for 20 years plus, that could have had a great payout for CM Punk, for a Cesaro, maybe if you wanted to have him have it. A Daniel Bryan could have had that payout. He could have actually gotten the biggest return on it. And hell, even if nobody wants to hear it, and I didn't want to really see it, but it's something that many people in the next couple of years are going to talk about. John Cena versus The Undertaker. That has never happened. The last time those two faced each other was maybe 2004. They have not touched each other in 10 years. Generally. To be honest. John Cena should have been the only one to get it if they were going to put that much, and I'm being honest here. John Cena, who was not there today, does it make it any better? No. It doesn't make it any better? Yes. But let's be honest here. John Cena, since they're putting so much effort into him, should have been the one to take the streak. Honestly, he should have been the one to take it. No matter if they had to telegraph it or not, no matter if he even wanted it or not. This is what the WWE's brass wanted. But instead they gave it to Brock Lesnar, who really is not going to give a benefit to anybody. Who is going to benefit from taking the title from Brock? Honestly. It's not going to be Roman Reigns. There's no way he's going to get anything from the streak. Not unless The Undertaker comes back himself and backs Roman Reigns. Literally works in his corner and says, I want you to take this title from Brock Lesnar. It is my fucking title. My streak. I want someone that I believe will get it back for me. That is the only way to get a return out of it, in my humble opinion. And having Brock Lesnar is stupid. It's dumb. Now, don't get me wrong. Paulie really did his best to try and make this work. And some of the crowd was into it to a certain extent and booed him because they just hate them. But then the other half of that crowd booed them because they can see this is bullshit. It's dumb. So how do I feel about this show? Flow Ryder I didn't give a fuck about. And a lot of things in here were not done that well. I have to admit, Paige is good to see that she had her turn. But if she's turned into a crazy bitch, it's stupid. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Please give me a comment below. Tell me what you really feel about Brock Lesnar. Do you believe Brock should be even able to win this title? Should he just disappear? Hell, should Roman Reigns just destroy Brock beforehand? Tell me what you guys feel below. I'd like to hear your opinions. Tell me, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Peace out!